All right, now we can try that again. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but it looks like we are rocking now. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How about now? Try that. Can everybody hear me? Sorry. Stand by. We're working these pieces out. Okay, so I think everybody's got me probably loud and clear now. And we are just working out kinks and bugs. Awesome. And give me a second. It should pop up here. Just a second. There it is. Okay, thanks, Adam. We are just so excited to be back, be running. As you notice, I'm not in the camper today, but we are super excited to be back on Rtag Nation Live. Just to give you a heads up, you can see these coming most every other Thursday that around 7 p.m. Eastern, depending on some of the obvious errors and things that we might accomplish. We started it right at 7, but for some reason it was only on the YouTube channel. So I'm super excited that we've got this streaming both live to YouTube and to Facebook. I can actually see comments from both, so feel free to comment in there, ask questions, and then when this is all over, you'll be able to see those again on both, so you won't really lose that content. But we have a great show for you today. I am very excited about getting to start this. As you can see, we've been working hard on the studio. We've been working hard on building software, and just this has all been a year in the making. So I do have James and Jason from Raven Careers that I'm going to bring on here in just a few minutes. We're going to talk about networking. So we've seen a ton of questions and just kind of discussion both in the Rtag Nation on some online forums about networking and the way to do it correctly, how to really power up that network that you have, especially now that we see a lot of the airlines, maybe some of our dream airlines are starting to rehire. It's super exciting in the industry right now, and we want to talk about the correct ways to really get yourself out there, warm up your network, maybe create a larger network than you already have. And so we're going to give you some tips and tricks on how to do that going forward, but things really that are going to stick with you hopefully long term, maybe not just in the application of the airlines, but something that you're really going to be able to go back to, put in that toolbox like we talk about all the time, and get you going. So again, welcome. We are so excited. Let me see what we've got here. Looks like we got about 41 people here. So as usual, ask questions. We are good to have questions on here. Actually, I just noticed that I'm only seeing YouTube on my mix. Bring back the mustache. I love that. And so I'll be looking back and forth through the Facebook questions and those and the YouTube. So if you can't see it, we're working some kinks to where you'll be able to see these eventually, and you'll be able to see all of the questions, whether you're on YouTube or on Facebook. So you'll be able to really get an idea of what everybody's asking all the way across. So I'm going to pull up real quick a little thing that's going to help me set up the chat, and then I'll be able to see both simultaneously. And so yeah, let us know. Give us a thumbs up after this if you think this is good. Make sure that you tell people about it, share it up, subscribe on YouTube if you haven't already. We've got a lot more content coming on YouTube. So first thing we'll do is I'm just going to give you an update on kind of what this show is going to do, the couple other things that we have coming up, and then we're going to dive right into networking with James and Jason after I take a sip of some coffee real quick. I was also a little behind today because I was flying for the Army, and we had to deviate for weather. So those of you who are, you guys are flying, understand that. Jason, I told him that earlier. He laughed. He said, people get it. We got to deviate for weather. So that put us a little bit behind today. So for this, Rtag Nation Live, we are looking to do these every 2 weeks on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. So I think that's, 4 Pacific, 5 Mountain, 6 Central. So, and these will be this similar format. We're going to have people on, experts in the industry. I've got some few interesting folks lined up from all different walks of life that are really going to help give us some real-time information on on the aviation industry, on things that are going to help better us, on the veteran, how veterans can integrate, maybe not just in aviation, but it'll be pretty interesting. And we're going to use this as more of a real time. We learned last year that we dialed up a bunch of podcasts, and by the time the podcasts went live, one was already out of date, and then I had a bunch set up, and then obviously COVID happened, and so everything was basically wiped out. So we do have some cool things coming up, and I'm looking for my little chat box here. We got some really cool things coming up that I think are going to be very, very, very helpful and very interesting on the live show. So we're going to dedicate all of that stuff for the live show. All for the live show for instant information. The podcast will be coming out towards the end of this month, and that's going to be a little bit more long format. We're going to do some interesting show stuff about, we're going to go talk to some different airlines, some 135 operators, and kind of get a little bit more in depth on those, and not so much immediate information. Things that aren't generally going to change that often. So that's kind of what's to look forward to. We'll post up images and what's going to come, just like we did. We're going to post up who our guests are and what we're going to be talking about and going forward. So quick updates on the convention. If you haven't seen the Rtag Nation main page on Facebook, that's where we're posting all of the new sponsors, everybody that's coming, and you can see almost daily we are posting new sponsors. We actually ran out of space in a lot of areas for some of our basic booths. We sold completely out of those, and then we called back to San Diego as things have been opening up. We've asked for some more room and more space, and they've given us that. So we actually have some more options for that. For any vendors that are going to see this or on this, June 15th is the deadline for early sign up. So everything essentially is going to go up money wise, almost double. But obviously, if you've already signed up with us, you won't have to worry about that. So it's going to be super exciting. We have some things that we're keeping close to our chest for now. We are working with the San Diego Film Festival to make an official San Diego Film Festival screening on the USS. I just forgot the name of it, but anyways, on the USS Midway. And so that's going to be a really fun event. More details are going to come for that. Volunteers, we've been getting you rolling in. If you're interested in volunteering, let us know. We're going to have some unique merchandise that's going to be available just for those. And if you haven't grabbed some of the new stuff that we've put out, take a look, and you can find all of that on the website. So we are going to, without further delay, I'm starting to see all these. Sorry, guys, I'm catching up on these comments real quick. And without further ado, we're going to set this up, and I'm going to actually bring in James and Jason, and we are going to start talking about, we'll do some catch up with some industry and career information, and then kind of seeing the career information that they have. What I really want to do is make sure that we are going to catch up with the reason that the reason that we're giving you the ideas about getting the networking rolling and kind of what to expect is because we have this event coming up, and because of what James and Jason are going to talk about during the next half hour or so. So let's see. We'll see if this scene works. If not, I may have to do a quick setup, but again, we're still kind of working through everything. So let me make sure that they are ready to go. And let's see. Boom. What's up, guys? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Awesome. So excited. James, how you doing, man?
Last time we spoke, you were in a camper.
That's right.
and we were debating, would coronas, and this is not a joke, you guys can go back and watch this.
It's true.
Is coronavirus going to affect 100 people or 500 people? We didn't know.
I remember that. In fact,
so if anyone's looking for any hiring prognostications, Jay, I'll be talking later this evening. I'm highly accurate, by the way.
Yeah, and I believe that was the only one. That may be the only one that we actually got out.
Yeah, it was.
No
way will this affect 500 people. There's no way.
That's so funny. I'm gonna drink coffee too.
Yeah, we're doing well.
That's awesome. I'm glad to see you again. You know, you guys, we go way back, not just business relationship, but friendship. You know, you guys, if you didn't know, and I'm going to keep watching these comments. I got to turn a little bit to see some of the comments, but if you didn't know, I actually used Raven to do my interview prep for Frontier. And so If you guys need interview prep and want somebody who's going to tell it like it is, let's put it that way, but also going to set you up on the right path with resume, kind of give you the truth, give you the honest breakdown, and then really help you develop, and this is a big sales pitch for you guys, I know, but I personally did it, but really help you develop how to interview, but using, it's not pre-canned stuff. It's they give you tips and techniques on how to interview using your true stories, the things that you've built up. It's just, they just put it in a format, in a way, almost in an outline, in a way to really express the best you that you have to bring to the table. And so I don't know if I had a chance to publicly thank you guys, but thank you guys. It obviously worked out well. But I will say that we can neither confirm nor deny that I may have been told that it was one of the best interviews they've ever seen. So we'll just put it that way. So, and I told them, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't use any prep at all.
All my own.
So, yeah, Grant Montgomery says he remembers the show a year ago. So a year ago, almost, man, it's not much farther away from the date probably, but a year ago, I remember we sat down and we talked before we recorded it in the camper about about it, what we were going to talk about. We didn't really know, and I think we had a little bit of a almost bold. I think we came to this conclusion, like, we'll be really safe when we talk about this, but we really think that when this is over, it's not really going to change much. It may delay it or pause it by a year, but we really still kind of, it was almost like we got to be ready and wait. We got to be ready and be planning in the waiting time, that when this thing comes back, it's going to come back really hard. Of course, we didn't know that we were going to see a ton of early retirements that might now create even larger vacuum. But what are you guys seeing in the industry now as we're starting to see people hire again, and maybe some expectations, and then we'll work into why networking is so important?
Well, let me start. The funny thing about that, the timeline, is very shortly after we put that video out, we did the stuff with you, James was listening as somebody near him was basically shutting down the economy, right? And he's just sitting there listening and going, holy cow, this is way worse than I thought it was gonna be. And I remember him calling me like frantically, like, this is gonna get really bad. And then we started picking up the phone and calling, just calling everybody we could that had lived through 9/11 and through other difficult times in the past, right? To get their take on it and be able to share the best information we could come up with based on their experience through the newsletter that we started last summer. And man, it was a crazy year of information and trying to be as accurate and factual as possible to try to help people set up for what it would be. And really, I think what you're going after today with networking, we saw that networking had to change dramatically last year. What we were teaching people as far as walking into buildings and introducing themselves and stuff had to go digital, right? And we went full bore in it, and we had a lot of success with our clients with it. So go ahead, James.
No, Jason's spot on. There's two things that are happening right now that are making a substantial difference. If anybody looked at the data prior to coronavirus, they know that there was going to be a spike in retirements throughout the 2020s. Because of those early buyouts, that has been accelerated 3 to 5 years. But the second piece that folks are not looking at is there was a 70% reduction in flight school enrollment during the coronavirus. So companies are getting crunched on both sides. If you take a look, American is retiring out 4,000 pilots in the next 5 years. So they got to hire 4,000, zero growth. United is interviewing 100 per week through the first week of August. They're going to hire about 450. By next summer, they will have hired 1,000. Within 3 years, they will have hired 3,000. FedEx, in their interviews, their interviewers, last week, we had a guy come in and goes, yeah, they just said HR is going to increase the number. You'll see that coming shortly. That's the reason why, if you're on our email and you just saw what went out the other day, United's now considering rotary time towards their total time. And I won't name names, but we've been talking to a lot of Rtaggers this week about folks that are in now. Hey, man, I got on my phone right here, I got 3 emails today. I've got a United interview, Aviate interview. I made it into Aviate. That's awesome. So you're going to start seeing a lot more people posting in Rtag going, I got a United interview. I'm in Aviate. And you're going to go, what? And there's some really good reasons on why we can talk about that. But if you're not networking right now, right, you are literally blowing the biggest opportunity that you will ever see in your professional career right now. I mean, the numbers are insane.
So James, to network properly, right, you're supposed to go online and shoot an email to somebody that's in a good position that can help you and say, please help me get this job, right? That's the right way to do it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's kind of like when you walk into the bar, you start with the most attractive person that you definitely want to go out with, and you go with your strong one-liners, like, if you were a booger, I'd pick you first. I mean, what could go wrong, right?
It seems solid.
Shoot high and then work your way down from there.
I think that's how you should start. So first thing, you heard it here. When you roll into Rtag, walk up to the first airline you want and be like, you're the first booger, I'll pick you first. And,
you let me know how that works. That's a Raven original right there. So.
I love it. That's awesome. Yeah, you know, and it's really fascinating. I've learned it more. You know, all of my education and just kind of reading, I read a lot of stuff specifically about networking, right, in businesses, and I'll throw a shout out and I'll link it. Eventually I'll go back and link it to the YouTube. So if you all are watching this afterwards, you can go look. But you know, networking is something that is actually very, very, very common when you look if you look at like the corporate business world, and they do it very well and they understand the process and how important it is. There's a great book called Love is the Killer App. So if you guys have ever heard of that, Love is the Killer App. And this guy was one of the few people that Yahoo kept on, I believe, when they bought broadcast.com or when they were bought out, because he was so good at doing this. And really his thing, and we'll talk about this a little later, kind of my 20,000-foot view of good networking. But essentially networking, he talks about using love as the networking tool, right? So not going, for instance, Spirit is hiring. I know this guy posted that he's at Spirit a year ago. Let me shoot him a message and say, hey, I know you don't know me, but can you get me a letter of recommendation? And we do see that a lot. And no fault, no fault. It's one thing that I think it's a common thread in the military where it's a lot easier on the military side to go, oh, well, I want to go to, I want to go from Fort Rucker to Fort Campbell, and I know people at Fort Campbell, so let me reach out to them and see what's going on, see what maybe jobs are available, things like that. And that's kind of how you do networking, which is a normal thing. And in the civilian side, trying to help transition onto, the network piece, what's kind of an initial step when you really want to look at networking on let's say a broad spectrum, right? Let's take Rtag convention coming up. Since it's the only convention that's actually happening this year for the aviation world, but bing. Let's take that for example, and let's talk about what would be a good networking leading up to maybe arriving at Rtag convention, both digitally and potentially maybe even in person. What's some advice that we could give out?
So the first thing is to understand the value of networking, right? If we didn't network at Raven, I would be fighting to purchase a spot in the parking lot for Rtag in October of this year.
That's right.
Right? People, and this is really important to understand, and it goes back to what you said about calling your buddies at Rucker. Companies are made of people, and people want to work with other people they know and trust. That's it. The point of networking is to make yourself known and trusted. Because if you're known and trusted, guess what? Your resume goes to the top of the pile. So the biggest difficulty folks have is getting a conversation started. Everybody talks about it. Dude, if you just sat me in a bar with the recruiter, I could talk to him all night. Yeah, congratulations, but you can't get to sit next to them in the bar in the first place, right?
Right.
If the hardest part is to get that conversation started. And so when you talk about how do you prep for the Rtag event, 94% of recruiters are on LinkedIn daily, every day. And less than 50% of your competition as pilots are going there. So when we do our LinkedIn networking course, the first thing we teach people, before we teach them how to start a conversation, before we teach them how to direct a conversation, is we teach them how to find people and research them.
That's right.
Jason has a specific module that he teaches on how to brief through their profile like an approach plate to make sure you can find something interesting. Like, hey, Josh, does that say scum on your shirt?
That's right.
Oh, it's interesting. So, do you own like a toilet bowl cleaning company, or what do you, right? Boom, I got a conversation started.
I'm considering that as a side job maybe, but
Yeah.
Hey, that sign behind you, is that blue? Boom, come, right? You got to find something to grab the person's attention and get a conversation started. And the way we do that is you can research the people that you're going to talk to before you ever show up in the first place. And I'll let Jason talk about that because he's, I'll be honest, way better than I am.
Yeah, it's I'm playing around with my microphone here, so if it's a little loud, let me know. The art of briefing, right? When we were trying to develop all this and get this out, it just jumped at me, right? We got to brief approaches, we got to brief SIDS and stars, right? Why not develop a system where we're going to go through a LinkedIn profile or look in? I mean, you'll call it Facebook stalking or something. It's absolutely what we're going to do. And you want to go onto a profile page and study it. Study how they're making their posts. What hashtags are they using? You might want to use those. You might want to follow them. You may get better communication from them with those, right? Or look at their profile, top to bottom, and look for something interesting, something personal on that page, and engage them on it. You don't want to jump right out and just ask. You want to engage with the human being, be a human with them, and find common ground. And honestly, when we take this path in with our clients, to where they are, it's step by step, right, James? I mean, it doesn't come on first lesson. It is a matter of understanding something that's intriguing about the person, testing it in an environment with other people where they get to share what's going on, and you see how the reactions happen, developing the language properly, what and how questions. We're going to avoid why questions. I'm sure we'll get to that at some point. Right. But we want to see something that you connect with, but that they also connect with through either what they're posting or what they share. And then you just talk to them like a human. You get to learn them. You get to grow with them in some form of conversation, to the point where what's amazing when it happens is when they go, hey, I was looking at your profile and I saw that you're a pilot. I saw that you worked at the same airline as me. If you didn't already use that or something, are you interested in working here? I mean, that's best case scenario. And we've had it happen multiple times, and it's awesome. It's super exciting when we see it happen. But start with being human, with engaging on simple principles, and not being transactional. You don't want to go into a conversation asking, or even having the appearance of asking. There's one thing that happened on LinkedIn in early 2020 when all the COVID stuff was going on, and people were getting laid off, and they were taking these profile pictures that said, they had the green frame on there, right? What did it say? Ready for work, looking for work, open to work. And I told people, take that off your profile. Yeah. I mean, it's like it's a badge saying, if I'm contacting you, I want a job, right? Yeah. And engage at a very personal level. And I'll leave it at that. I mean, look, so start top to bottom, right? You're going to go through their profile. You're going to look at their picture. You're going to look at their tagline below their picture. You're going to look at their job history, look at what they do, look at what their interests are. And one of my favorites ones, we go all the way to the bottom of the page, take a look at what their maybe non-work related interests are. One of the favorite ones that I have is Shark Tank. Man, if you get someone talking about Shark Tank, they typically engage with it, right? And it's a very common one. And you could lead in with, something along the lines of, who's your favorite person on Shark Tank? How do you feel about Mr. Wonderful? I mean, it's very, very simplistic. With the connection, though, right? So you're going to make the connection. You're going to write a personalized introduction to them with that connection, and then shoot it off to them. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's not 100% of the time. I noticed somebody joking about us being confrontational earlier said 65% of the time it works every time, right? I mean, it is a better ratio than that, obviously, but it takes getting out there. It takes practice. It takes engaging. But we see it snowball into massive success for our clients. I was going through a list today talking with Amy. If you come work with us here at Raven, when you finish everything up, Amy's going to give you a call, and she's going to ask, how did we do? How could we do better? What kind of success did you see? Is there anything else you need from us? All sorts of questions to learn that stuff. And one of our clients actually wrote a review for us recently saying, pilots are expensively expensive when it comes to education and ridiculously cheap when it comes to investing in their career, right? And that was a plug for us that, we probably cost more than some other services, but we're going to invest individual time. We have a client that utilized our skills, and he came to us in a job pursuit, but on the side, he has a drone business. and he utilized the networking skills that we have in that business and picked up 5 additional clients, increased his sales tenfold very quickly, right?
Wow.
One that you may not be happy that we helped is we had a client that went to the FAA, and they took those strategies to learn how to talk perhaps to you better on the phone when they're trying to dig out information.
That's
right? So we're going to help everybody try to increase their communication online in a way that leads to non-transactional communication, conversation.
Awesome. Well, let me pause you right there real quick, and we'll pick up again in just a second. I get to do this fun stuff that now a word from our sponsors. So I love it. So just wanted to take a quick second and recognize Prey Aviation. They've been sponsoring a lot of this. They are the diamond sponsor this year, and they have got some super exciting stuff going on. And so we're super excited again to partner with them. You'll be able to come out and check them out at the convention. And just a little information quickly about Matt is Matt was an E2 mechanic starting out and ended up eventually working his way through the military, working his way to get his degree, a master's degree, and came in and started ferrying aircraft. Flew all over the world, 40 different countries, 6 continents, and obviously loved aviation. We pump up a lot on our enlisted to airlines or our military who don't have aviation. We call it enlisted airlines, but maybe you're an officer and you didn't do aviation, but we have options for you. And Matt's just one of those awesome people that has done it. 8 years ago, they started with one Cessna 172 and wanted to run a flight school. Got some students from through friends. Again, networking. That's another great thing, right? He networked. He had some friends that said, hey, I know some people that are wanting to do some flight training. Would you be willing to do some flight training with them? And so then they started to get a bunch more clients just through that original networking and being there. And we're going to talk about how that kind of works a little bit in a minute. Just kind of, again, my view of networking. They purchased some facilities in 2017 and it just continued. They've renovated, they've continued to grow. They've got places where people can stay to do training. And then we met them through Rtag, and they love what we've done. Obviously, veteran, wanted to give back. And so Matt said, hey, I want to be the diamond sponsor. And we just could not thank him more for doing that. And a lot of the stuff that you're going to see this year is really because of them. As those of you who know, if anybody's watching from or going to watch us again from Alaska, he has since started to work this, what we call the RIPTOA train in place program, and it's a fly to you. They're looking at more and more places where they can send aircraft and instructors to you to finish your flight training or to do your entire setup from maybe 0 to complete. They're currently in Kansas, Alaska, about to be in Georgia, Florida, and my state of Texas. So it's super exciting to have them as part of the Rtag organization, to give back and really to put kind of the money where the mouth is for the veteran community, and was our diamond sponsor this year. So check out Prey Aviation. You can find them on our Facebook page and on their website as well. And now let's dive right back into some conversations here. All right, so we're back, and I will get you back, and you guys can hear me hopefully. All right, good deal.
Yeah, I just want to say something about Matt, Josh, real quick. I remember meeting Matt at an Rtag convention. He came up to me, and we just started having a great conversation. And he was engaging, wanting to learn more about what other flight schools were doing, wanting to learn more about what the airline was doing. And I just want to say that he's just a really great guy from what I remember. I haven't spoken much to him in the last year or two because of the career change I had. But I can very clearly remember him introducing himself to me in the moment. I can't remember which Rtag it was. It was the one where we were upstairs, right? We had that big center area looking down, and we were having our, I think it was,
wasn't that was that the first one in Savannah?
It might've been Savannah.
I think so. Yeah. At the museum, the aviation museum.
Yeah. It was very cool. So it's great to have a conversation with him, and I'm honestly just really happy to see the success that him and his company have had. And like I said on Rtag the other day on the Facebook post, what he's doing by repositioning his airplanes is genius. But going up to Fort Wainwright in Fairbanks is amazing because we would go up there. I would recruit from there fairly often. I love Alaska. And we would look at the rates, how expensive it was to train up there, and it's just astronomical. And we were hiring people and bringing them down to the States, setting things up with other companies. But for Matt to go up there, do this accelerated training program is just phenomenal, and it opens up a lot of opportunities for people.
Yeah, it's really exciting, and I tell you, it's a testament to, I guess, this whole movement. To be honest with you, you know, if you would have told me again, if you would have told me in 2018, and it has nothing to do with me or us, I think it's just I just think it's the rabidness of people, veterans wanting to find jobs in the aviation world. And but if you look at just kind of the whole movement, if you'd have told me that in 2018, when we said, hey, let's do this Savannah convention, that United would be looking to count rotary wing time after a worldwide pandemic, I would have been like, there's no way. But I think that really goes into the whole community of what we as a community show. You know, every time we have somebody come to the conventions, again, you guys have been there since the very beginning, so you've seen it. You know, there's all these other conventions out there that are great, but every time when a recruiter comes to our convention, it's the same thing. We didn't know what we were getting into. We were like, we thought this would be good, or it was cheap to come, so we came as a recruiting team, and we will never not come again. Just kind of that level of attack, if you will. And so, again, I think using this networking piece, we see Matt did a great job through the networking. But let's go on a little bit more on the digital networking side. Again, LinkedIn is an amazing resource. We use it. I use it very heavily. I've gotten the job offers all through COVID. We get job offers because you meet these profile criteria. But you're absolutely right, where, you know, some of the recruiters that we've linked or that we've had to reach out to because they've changed recruiting teams during COVID, or one person went to another airline, they've reached out to us on LinkedIn, Rtag, to be able to get, okay, here's my email address, send us the stuff for Rtag. So let's talk about, you know, one of the things that is I think hard sometimes to mentally disassociate, because LinkedIn is a social media platform, is that what would be a difference between, let's say, a profile set up on Facebook and maybe a profile set up on something that's obviously geared more towards a professional side in LinkedIn?
Don't think about LinkedIn like a social media platform.
Good call.
LinkedIn's an ISR platform. It's all it is. It's an ISR platform, right? Would you put assets on the battlefield without having somebody up ahead getting intel? No, that would be dumb, right?
I like it.
So people all the time come into LinkedIn and they're like, I don't do social media. Guess what? In 2013, I shut off all social media. You cannot find me. If you want to talk to me, you can get my phone number. You call me. I'll tell you where I went to eat. You can't throw farm animals at me. There won't be any, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have no issue having a conversation with someone or having a relationship with someone if they're actually interested in that.
Right.
But do I want pictures of my family up? Do I want pictures of where I'm going to eat all the time? I don't. I really don't. Now, none of that goes on LinkedIn. It's just professional.
Right.
There's no family pictures. There's no farm animals. There's no, I went to eat here. There's no, you know, none of that stuff. It's all professional, right? It's an ISR platform. It's not social media.
Beautiful.
That's how you got to think about it. Oh, and by the way, it's an amazing, easy way to get into every influential person in the industry. You can get into their pocket any time of day. You try knocking on Scott Kirby's front door at United. Let me know how that works for you. There's 17 layers of security between you and him, right? You want to talk to a chief pilot. You want to talk to a recruiter, a former recruiter, a pilot, director of training. You got access right to their pocket the whole time.
Yep.
No security doors. So don't think of it like social media, because it's not.
There you go. And see, I think that's something we can totally relate to, the ISR platform. I think that's awesome. Mm-hmm. So that being said, then, knowing that it's not only, you know, knowing that obviously it's not only something that we're using as our side of the tool, right? It's a revolving door.
That's the best part.
How do you set that? How does somebody make the best foot forward, right? First impression. How do you set that profile up in a way that says, I'm not says I'm desperate for a job, right? But says, hey, I'm
you mean
qualified.
counterinsurgency?
Counterinsurgency. Let's do it. Let's do LinkedIn coin definitions here. Here we go.
So here's the deal that people don't get. They're like, it's an ISR platform. Well, guess what? If I can see them, they can see me. Correct, but you control what they're seeing.
That's right.
Now, here's the beautiful thing about that. Number one, don't lie. Don't lie. You don't have to embellish. You don't have to lie. You don't have to make things up. But when you narrow down what companies you want to target, our folks know how to ask you the right questions to find out what information in your background is going to get them interested. Because what they want to know is, can you solve our problems? And if you'll permit me, I'll give you a real simple reason on how that works.
Absolutely.
People are like, why is United looking at folks with rotary time? Well, let's think about it. If any legacy airline, United, Delta, American, goes to their regional carriers and starts sucking captains up from the regional, their jets are going to sit on the ground. They have a problem. They can only put so many people through the training department at any given time.
Right.
So they have to be careful about how many first officers or how many captains they take, but also how many first officers. Because if they only take captains, they're in trouble. Well, if you're going to take somebody with 300 hours of 121 time, would you rather it be somebody that has 300 hours of 121 time on top of 1,500 hours of 172 flight instruction? Or 750 hours of military flight time with 750 hours of 121 time, or 1,500 hours of military flight time and 500 hours of 121 time? Who do you think is better structured to pass the training program? We know how to think like that.
Right.
So when we're writing the profile, we're not writing it from the perspective of a pilot. We're writing it from the perspective of the recruiter. It's a counterinsurgency tool.
I like it. Yeah, I like it. I think that's a great idea. Jason, what do you got?
I don't know what else to say. I love it. That's a whole, just so you know, that's a whole new direction that I've seen James take it.
I like it.
It's funny, when I first started working here, James would have me observe the phone calls, observe the initial phone calls, and see how those were going. And I was just shocked at some of the stuff he would say. But it's true, man. We lead with honesty as much as we can, everywhere we can, and it's a matter of digging. When I tell people about how I came to Raven, it was I got a resume, and the beautiful thing was I didn't have to write it. They went and they dug and dug and dug. They interviewed me and wrote a gorgeous resume for me that opened doors. And then you can take that information, you can pop it into LinkedIn, you can pop it in your application. It's fantastic. And exactly as he said, we're going to write deliverables that you can bring to a company, help solve problems at that organization. And through the LinkedIn networking process, when you're actually reaching out to people to learn about, or to find ways to have conversations with them, once you get the ball rolling, it's a matter of finding these problems within an organization. A lot of people want to go and they want to reach out directly to the assistant to the CEO. They want to go directly to the recruitment team and go, hey, what can you do for me? Can you help me? I want to work there.
That's not
Please.
how that works.
Give me a job.
We're going to talk about that in a second too.
Yeah. And we don't do that. We send you to the people that you're trying to emulate, right? You're going to go to a junior first officer. You're going to go to a flight attendant. Go to somebody that can tell you what they're struggling with. What are they seeing in training? What difficulties do they have? It's like when I got hired on at my last company, I got hired on as a direct entry captain, and it's a lot to overcome to go in. One, I hadn't flown a regional jet in forever, right? So to go in and study for that, there's going to be pieces missing, right? Because the training program was honestly set up for first officers. So what I would do is gather intelligence. I would go to the training center. I would look for the check airmen, and I would go, hey, my name's Jason. I'm currently going through training. I'm studying, and I'm just really curious. Can you help me understand where people are struggling the most in their check rides? And I would do that with every check airman I could find. And I got all the information that was not necessarily being taught directly to me, the things that they would go into for their orals. And it allowed me the chance to go look that up in the book, find it, study it, make sure that I knew it cold, because it's something that they're obviously asking or getting to at some point in an interview for a check ride. and be prepared for that. And networking is the exact same thing. Find the problems with other people so that when you do get to the point where you're having an interview or where you're getting a face-to-face opportunity at Rtag in San Diego in October, you know some of the things that they're struggling, and you can shape your language, your conversation, your interaction with that person to highlight what you understand about the organization. We all focus on the good, and we focus on the things that they're plastering out there. You know, what are they putting up on their social media? What are they presenting about their company that's great? And for some reason, we as pilots like to go in and just mirror it back to them and go, man, I love what you're doing with your green initiatives, and I love what you're doing with this and that. But do you really believe that?
Right.
What do you see that they're doing that's good that you firmly believe? What do you see that by talking to people that are at that organization that you know people love about them, but also what are they struggling with? Right. And how can you place yourself as a solution into what they're struggling with so that they go, this guy gets it. This girl gets it. We want them on the team here because they know what they're moving into, and we think they might be able to help us overcome that issue.
Awesome.
That's where networking is really effective.
Well, let me pause one more time for one more word from our sponsors. I don't really know what to say about that, but okay, here we go. We've talked about Matt Prey, and we've talked about just what's coming up. And as you can see, we have this awesome, hopefully you can see the logo, but San Diego 2021 is going to be insane. Make sure that you get in and you get hotel rooms. That information's on the Facebook page and our website. Make sure that you start looking at the dates, trying to figure out whether you can come or not, especially if you're looking for that next step in your career. Then make sure that you are ready to go, and make sure the audio is still good to go. Make sure you are ready to go and ready to rock. Okay, we're going to talk at the end of this a little bit about just kind of things to prepare for other than networking, but we just want to say thanks to Raven Careers as a sponsor for today. Obviously, we've talked to James and Jason at length today, but so many other times, and the stuff that they've done behind the scenes to just give away time and give away a lot of their knowledge that they have. And those of you who've used them, love them. So we want to say thanks to Raven Careers, and we'll go back, finalize up this segment on networking, and then come right back and close this thing out. And thanks for sticking with us. And let's go back now. All right, we're back. I think I clicked the wrong mute button and it muted everything. But, I think that's... We're learning as we go, right? I don't even know what to say, but
this is why I don't do live events here.
Real quick.
Yeah, what you guys?
This is actually a really good thing to point out. So many people get tripped up on networking because they focus on being perfect. They don't focus on good enough. Yep. So, have we had tech issues today? Absolutely. Did I not have enough time to shave before I got in? Of course.
It looks good.
My polo shirt that I put in the wash, it's not dry on time, so I'm wearing a t-shirt, right? Okay, here's why I bring this up. Don't let perfection get in the way of progress. It is okay to make a mistake. It is okay to not be perfect, because guess what? As long as you're putting something out that's useful, as long as you're legitimately trying, people will see it and appreciate it. Good enough is by definition good enough, and that's all you're shooting for. You are just shooting for good enough.
Well, and it's funny too. So my wife and I have been photographers for a long time. Weddings, hundreds of weddings we've shot. And when you shoot, and this
episode brought to you by Josh and Beck Photography.
That's right. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I should have done that. Yeah, link us, find us. But when you do that and you're editing, 1,000 pictures or 2,000 pictures, we as the photographers are like, oh, I want to make sure everything is perfect down the line. And my saying always was to Becky was, perfection is the enemy of good enough. And so that's something that I think you're dead on, is that we do kind of get worried sometimes that, well, what if I say the wrong thing, or I look nervous, or that stuff. Exactly. That's the real thing that we expect. If you walk into, I think if you walk into an interview and you are not a little have that butterfly in your stomach ready, then something might be wrong with you, which we know something's wrong with me. Clearly I'm dead inside, but I think that's almost that nervous excitement So we've talked LinkedIn. We've talked a lot about reaching out and finding, and I love the way you guys talk about it, because I think it's huge, is that finding that common thread that really, and I always look at, could I be friends with this person? If I look at through somebody's profile and I'm like, oh, I hate those movies, or, or somebody says, oh, I don't like John Hughes movies. If they don't like Breakfast Club, I'm like, I can't be friends with them. But it's those things, those common threads. And we're very familiar with it, I think, on the military side, again, but sometimes it's hard. We're a little unfamiliar with how it works on the civilian side, but it works exactly the same, where we can find those. And so kind of my expertise is, and learning, I guess, is really from the person to person. You guys know me, you've known me for a while, but I'm very, very good. I've learned over time. I'm very good at reading people, but I'm also really good at interacting personally with people, which is why I love doing live shows and things like this. And I sometimes I think too quickly. I think sometimes my wife's like, there is no filter. So I've got to be really careful about, if I think it, I'm usually saying it, and sometimes that can be bad. I've learned to fix that over time.
She's watching right now, right?
She is watching. Of course she is. She's like, don't do it. But I think that's something that, where I like to hit on is there's a really, really, one of my favorite phrases, and for some reason I'm just blanking on the book that it comes from. But we hear this phrase, and if you guys have heard it, that your network is your net worth, right? And so that's something that, especially when you're going to an unfamiliar territory, in that, let's take the Rtag convention, for example. You're showing up, it's a fairly unfamiliar, if you're not in the airlines at all, it's actually quite unfamiliar to go kind of sell yourself. You guys are probably the same way as I am. When you have to write stuff about yourself, it's really awkward and really weird. And you're just like, okay, well, you don't want to sound too braggy, but you got to kind of sell yourself in a way. And what I found is, when you think about network is your net worth, really people that are trying to grow your network and grow your friends, grow your acquaintances, the key thing that a lot of people fail to realize, I really have seen this, is that it's not about who you know. We hear that all the time. It's about your network is about who you know. It's about who you know, oh, I know this person. Well, really, and what I've seen in practice and obviously in study and research, is that it's not even really about who you know. The key to true networking is about who knows you, is the first part, yes, and also who is willing to do something for you. So it's really those 2 points. And I think one of the things that I want to put out to our members is, how do you get to the easy part is who knows you, right? There's a lot of people that know me. Let's take me, for example. There's a lot of people that know me that I may not know personally. So I've got the first part of that, but the second part comes in, what are they willing to do for me? And that comes from, simple as I can say it, service. Servant leadership, service to those people around you, doing things. And this is where I think the veteran status, the military, does a very good job, is that, what are we doing for the community? There's a lot of people out there that are willing to do things for me. I know when it happened with the Frontier, when I went to get hired for the Frontier, a lot of it was kind of reputation before, not because of who I was or anything special. I wasn't a super senior pilot. I didn't have a ton of fixed wing hours and the career status, but they knew what I was willing to do and the service that I was doing for other people. And when somebody's been, I guess, served by you, it's so easy for them to say, yep, what do you need? What can I do for you? And that's kind of where we've shaped the Rtag side around. I know us four on the board and all of our volunteers that volunteer, the volunteers none of us get paid. Volunteers take their time up for the weekend, and, think about that. Thank a volunteer when you come to Rtag, because, they're taking time. A lot of those people would like to go talk to, Frontier or Spirit or any of the other people that are coming, and they're giving up their time to volunteer to serve the community. So I think that one of the things that we should as a community really remember is, what are we doing that is going to aid or help or serve others around us, the community around us, and how are we known in our network? And I think that's something that you guys probably have seen from just a huge, vast number of people in all different lights, good and bad. So give you guys some time to kind of speak to that, if you will.
It's not who you know, it's who you've helped.
I love it. Yeah, absolutely.
So people ask all the time, they go, man, you guys are really expensive. And I go, yep, sure are. And they go, they'll ask questions about it, like, how do I know it's worth it? And I go, I'm going to make this real easy on you. I go, I am the most greedy business person you've ever met in your entire life. Okay. And they go, okay. And they go, all right. I say, when you come to us, you're not coming to buy a resume. You're not coming to buy an application review. You're not coming to buy interview prep. You're coming to get a job. Right. You're willing to spend the money on those things, but really people are not coming to Raven for those things. They want a job. That's why we do our monthly industry live events. It's right. Why we do things like you know, we're not charging for this, right? It's if we want our folks to get jobs, we've got to make sure we're there for them way beyond just that initial service. Okay. Right. So I tell them, I go, if you come to us and you spend whatever, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, right? And you end up without a job, what are you going to tell your buddies? And they go, I'm going to tell them you suck. I go, as you should. Now, right. What happens when you spend $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 and in 60 days, you have 2 interviews at 2 different legacy carriers or a legacy and an ultra low cost and you get hired? They go, well, I'm going to send 10 of my buddies your way. I go, exactly. My cost of client acquisition goes down. So if I help you, right, people will return that because right. The thing is, when we look at their friends, they want their friends taken care of. They want their friends working with someone they trust. They want their friends working with someone they know. Yep. So how do you become a trust broker? You become a trust broker by helping people without an expectation of something in return. Right? That's right. You make sure that you follow, like for us, we make sure that we follow through on providing you the information and the support to get that job. The rest of it takes care of itself from there. So now you take that logical extension and you're at a job fair, right? And you're trying to network and you're like, what can I do to help a recruiter? Well, if that recruiter looks like they've had a really tough day, why don't you walk up and go, how you doing? Right? Just be nice to them. Give them some leeway, right?
Here's some coffee.
Whatever. And I'm not saying like to be cheesy and transactional, but what you have to do is you have to observe your surroundings.
Yeah.
Like earlier, I was playing with the, hey, what's on your shirt? Right? But if I saw you walking around and you had, I remember when we were in Kentucky, you and I tried to connect 17 times. I think I got to talk to you 3 minutes before the end of the convention.
Probably.
Right? Yeah. I didn't talk to you about business. I didn't talk. It was like, hey man, how are you doing? You know, look, yeah, it was a nice convention, but you guys run around like crazy. Like we just had a human conversation. How's your family doing? What's going on? You start to pay attention to people on a human level. Right. You react to it in the moment. You don't try and force feed in something that's not relevant. And you'd be surprised because you're treating people non-transactionally. You're being a trust broker. You're being honest with them, right? You're not being pushy. You're being persistent. We call it politely persistent, right? And you let them lead the dance.
Absolutely.
And you will be shocked at the response you get from people who will bend over backwards to help you. We had a guy get on LinkedIn. He was a Navy guy and had been applying to, I won't say the company name. He's been applying to this company for a long time. It's a company a lot of you want to work at, right? And he happened to start a conversation with a recruiter about a post that she made. And she started a conversation, hey, are you looking to come here? He didn't bring it up. She did. And he goes, you know, I have been. I've had my stuff in for like 2 years. He didn't have his app review done by us. He did it on his own. He goes, but I haven't gotten a call. She goes, hold on. Pulls his app and goes, yeah, the mistake's here. Go fix that. 2 weeks later, he's in an interview. 3 weeks after that, he's in class. He called us up confused. He was like, I didn't even ask. Yeah, you were being a human being.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? You were being kind. You were being genuine. You were actually having a conversation with this person. And it really does boil down to who have you helped? And sometimes helping is just being there.
Absolutely. Jason,
sometimes helping is going, the bathroom is over there.
That's right. You're right.
And the bathroom. Yeah. So we've got a client that about one thing on his resume, and I'm a little apprehensive to say that what the one thing was, but it had nothing to do with the job. I made him leave it on there. I said, this is going to be something that you'll engage with. Trust me. Leave it on there. Be willing to talk about it. And they discussed it for a while. And then he said to the recruiter, the recruiter said to him, hey, I'd really love to have you come interview. Can you interview? No app on file. Am I still playing? All right. Yeah. So no app on file. He had to hurry up, get home, submit it within like 3 days to have it done in time for the interview. Then COVID happened. Everything went out the window. But
Sure.
recently he was hired by that company. And it was because he had a off the cuff conversation away from the booth, ran into someone and simply said hello. And they re-engaged. This is after their first initial conversation, talked about things. And I remember the guy that I was talking to, he called me up afterwards. He goes, he didn't even ask me about it in my flight time. He said, he questioned him on it. Don't you want to know anything about what I was flying? He goes, no, you're so passionate about this other thing that I can tell, one, that you're super honest, and two, that you're really passionate about it. And it makes me believe and understand everything else that's on here. So I'd love to learn more about you in an interview. And it boils down to just being willing to walk up, say hello, shake a hand or elbow or whatever it is we do now, and have that human interaction. And it takes effort, right? It's something that you have to develop comfort on. I'll freely admit, when I first started networking, I was extremely transactional. I trying to get onto groups and stuff very young in my career, and until I realized, in fact, one of the groups that I'm still on, I was very transactional on why I wanted to be on it. I didn't write my letter to be on that, but I wanted it for networking. I didn't understand what I was doing at the time.
Right.
And then once I joined that group, I realized, wow, this is an amazing opportunity to help people avoid the pitfalls I've made, avoid the mistakes I've made, be a mentor, and learn from the people that are far more, successful, or far more involved in the industry, have a better understanding of it, learn from all of them. And then they noticed work I was doing, and they start speaking for me and start opening doors and opportunities for me. And it came from the servant, as you said, attitude that I took other things with, volunteers, stepping up, helping people. And it's really the key. I'm really happy that the discussion went this way today. Because networking is very often looked at as a transactional thing. And I love that we're talking about the human element. And Josh, you brought up something so important. If you're going to connect with someone, I mean, there should be something in you that likes what you see about that person you're engaged by.
Right.
And you do want to befriend to a point. Don't do it just because they're in a position that you think can help. Find somebody else who maybe has a different role or something else in an organization that you can actually see a true connection with, and go that way. And the connections will happen much easier.
That's absolutely. And you know what? I just was looking at a comment that Taco made. You know Taco, right? Taco networking. Are you kidding me? Right? I mean, he's talked about how to win friends and influence people. Phenomenal book. But something that you said, I think, really registered with me, Jason, is that personal connection, and that you talked about where people are. Essentially, your network is you've done so much for people in an authentic manner. Like we've talked about, you're actually doing it and serving people in a way that is real. People see that authenticity and they see that passion. And what happens before long is you're getting people that aren't even in your first tier network, right? You're getting calls or emails from second, third, fourth tier of, oh, my friend said that you're the person that I need to talk to because of this, or hey, we're at this airline that maybe you didn't apply, or, it has happened to me. I have this job opening and I have heard such great things about you from this person. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that was a job available. And it's not because I was necessarily qualified, because they didn't have a resume. I hadn't applied. I just had nothing really. Now just so happens that those fall in, right? But those were the secondary. My resume, my qualifications were secondary to the service. And I thought that was really interesting. I'll post something from Sean Wallace over on YouTube. Hilarious. It says, I just envisioned thousands of awkward handshakes and elbow bumps at the Rtag National Convention. So many laughs. And it's true. And what's so cool is we're seeing that the recruiters we're talking to are blown away that we really stuck to it. Maybe it was maybe it's the military mission thing, but we stuck to, we are doing this convention until the last minute they tell us. And look, it looks like it's going to happen. This may be the only place. If you thought the other conventions were reunions, I think you're in for a crazy treat, because if you are not planning to be here in San Diego, I'm telling you, people that are watching this later, you've got to come. It is going to be the first time that a lot of us have seen each other in person in over a year, well over a year. And it's going to be, the excitement I think is really, really neat. And the recruiters are excited because they're doing the first thing. I mean, obviously they're in a recruiting role because they are people persons. They are wanting to come out and interact and engage. So they're ready and fired up to do it. So be ready. If you are ready to take that next step, if you're looking for something to get you there, obviously you can share, look at this stuff, read some books, look up things on how to network, look up servant leadership, call Raven Careers, talk to them. They will give you far above. We talk about return on investment, but I don't really care about I do not personally care about monetary return on investment, right? It's return on investment in human capital. And it is we are doing for us as Rtag. What are we doing to invest in the next generation? I'm at an airline that I love. I ain't going nowhere. What am I doing now? And I'm not going to stop. I'm not like, oh, well, I got the Frontier. You guys find somebody else to run Rtag. I'm out of here. I did what I needed to do. We are doing everything we can to give back. And what's that next step that we can do to bring people in? So it's an amazing community. One of the only communities you'll see that we actively look for mentors. We actively want people to continue to invest in that next generation of what is that next pilot. And it's, I think Jason, I know specifically, has seen it at Frontier and other airlines that he's worked at, I think since you were at GoJet as well, with the Rtags. And it's almost like it's an expectation now that if you do well and the Rtag people like you, you're going to get more applications because I feel like the community has kind of changed the perception of how recruiters deal with people, because they know that they want to do these things to bring more people. And it's super easy. If they're cool and they're awesome and they invest, then we do the same thing, and it's word of mouth and it's awesome. What you got, Jason?
That boils down to the first set of folks that you had going into every company that you want to talk about servant leadership that took seriously. I'm not here for myself.
That's right.
I represent every person that walked through that door behind me with that similar background. And because all your tip of the spears have done what they needed to do, right now the people coming in have it a little bit easier, and it'll get a little bit easier, and so on and so forth.
Absolutely.
If I can touch on what you said earlier real quick, when you were talking about human capital. So what that looks like in real life. So we do, like I said, we do monthly live client industry updates where we go through what's going on in the hiring numbers. There's a lot of background information that for the folks that when they read our emails every week, there's a lot of information we do not put in there,
right?
Because we can't. So we save those for our private live events.
Yeah, like United starting to look at rotor pilots.
Yeah,
I know some people are going, but there's no details. I saw them on the Rtag page. I'm like, there can't be.
So you'll see the details coming out on Rtag. Give it about 3 to 4 weeks, and all of a sudden the details will be there. But
that's right.
But we were doing this live event, and we're passing all this information along about FedEx and United and UPS. And the folks in the event are starting to connect with each other and talk offline, right? So because they're a Raven client, they're automatically tuned into that community.
Right.
Second thing, number of folks have been getting chief pilot meet and greets lately. Guess what? They call Jason and I and go, hey, I got a chief pilot meet and greet. What do I do? Which chief pilot are you meeting with? This one? Okay. Here's 5 guys that talked to that person last week. Do you mind if I give them your LinkedIn account? They go, yeah, sure. I do the exchange of the LinkedIn account information for you. So you don't even have to, like, the introduction's already done. You don't even have to start the conversation, right? Awesome. And guess what? Now we have people that have a shared common experience. They've been through all our courses. They know what to expect in terms of how to enact it. And now they're working together. It's a smart swarm.
Right.
You got, it's people want to help each other. You have to fundamentally understand that. But they want to help people that they feel like they're going to take that help and multiply it. They want, like, I call it people that are worthy of it, right? Someone that's not just going to take it for themselves. They're going to take it for themselves, build on it, hand it to somebody else.
That's right.
You make yourself that person. This is good to go. It's easy.
I love it.
So before I knew Josh, I was in touch with somebody else that was at Rtag, and they were telling me about the convention. We were all excited about it. And I was like, so what's it going to cost? And the answer I got was just like, what? No, you can get way more than that, right? And it was just a matter of going and talking to them and going, well, what are you going to do for, who's going to sponsor the lanyards? Who's going to sponsor, the tabletops, the water bottles? Who's going to sponsor this? You can charge airlines for this. They will pay for this, and it's going to help offset all the costs for convention.
Yep. And
I did that. One, because I wanted it to be a success. I wanted to make sure that Rtag had enough capital in the first Savannah event actually be able to put on a great show and pay the rent and all that. I don't know exactly, Josh, even what you were planning at that time, but it was a matter of let me help you, because I saw a massive opportunity in it. And the way that I want to go, some of you might have seen me write on my whiteboard. I do that a lot when I'm coaching and stuff with people, but I noticed very early on as a recruiter that I loved the helicopter community. I was actually shocked at the capabilities of what I was seeing, and the people that I was talking to had no fixed wing time. And for me, it was a matter of, love of service, love of their country, love of their fellow person, and stories. We ask CFIs, and when you're recruiting at a regional level, hey, tell me about a time you were scared in an airplane. And they're telling me about the time where their student, spun the airplane a little bit too far, and the recovery got a little bit out of control, and they really had to push that rudder down, right? And I'm talking to helicopter guys. I talked to a guy this week. He's telling me a story about how he flew in, he got half his tail section blown off. Comes back, he's got tracer rounds through his helicopter. He's just flying around, listening to ding, ding, twing, twing. I think he's on this call. I was like, yeah, I think they can handle the stress of having to enter a hold and wait for a delayed vector into an airport or something, right? We're trying to assess stress. And then obviously the training profile. You guys are incredibly trainable. But I do want to let James run on something, because very early on, as I came on board with Raven, there's a huge push for me. You got to go after these guys. Are really good because they make incredible clients. And it's a testament to the effort that they put in, right, James?
Yeah. So what folks don't realize is that you have a huge amount of impact on your success, right? So we can tell you what to do. We can tell you how to do it. I like the way we talk about it is like personal training, right? So we are going to make damn sure that the best barbells are there. There's going to be, your trainer's going to be there 30 minutes early. The water station's going to be set up. The mats are going to be there. The air conditioning is going to be set right. But if you don't show up, we can't lift the weights for you. Like, that's the one part you're going to have to do is show up and lift the weights. We will eliminate all friction to do it, right? I'll send someone to your house to drive you to the gym, right? I mean, like, we will have a personal masseuse there the whole time, right? But you are going to have to lift the weights. And so the cool thing is with the Rtag folks, right, is they get it. If it's like, hey, we need you to do A, B, and C, they just go do A, B, and C. Right. And it works. And that's why they see the success rate. And that's why they start fielding multiple interviews and that, and so on and so forth. But you have a huge impact on your own success. And it's really important to not underestimate how valuable that is.
And the consistency is very high.
Yeah.
Well, that's perfect. I think that's an awesome place to kind of end this up, is that all the stuff we talked about, that, you, me, we all have a huge impact on our success. And so thank you, James. Thank you, Jason, for stopping by. Thanks for everything that you guys have done for me personally, but to us as a community. October, you guys will be out there at the convention.
Hopefully not in the parking lot.
Hopefully not in the parking lot.
No joke, we're going to actually try and do some live networking events before the convention to get everyone prepped. So we're trying to get some space for that now.
Sweet. And so if you haven't signed up for their online, they can still sign up for you guys for that on the website, correct?
Yep, at ravencareers.com, you'll see there's a thing that says industry updates. Click on it, add your email address, and you can get copies. You'll get our weekly email of everything that's going on.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you guys so much. We'll have you guys back again. And then again, you'll see more stuff from us and Raven coming in the future, and more stuff on the convention updates. And I will kick you guys out and close it out, but really appreciate you. Oh, Jason's got one more thing.
Can I get one shout out for those of you who are still serving in the military actively? Go to your favorite podcast listening platform, search for Raven Careers Aviation Podcast. I just recorded like a 2.5 hour long episode with Max Schumer, who is a Navy 06 who had found, I mean, he was a client of ours, I believe, right, James? I know we worked with him quite a bit. Yeah. So this guy left the military and went into a Gulfstream job as an intern. They paid for his type rating. They let him fly there for 6 months, the last 6 months of his service, to learn a trade, right? To learn new skills, to come out, and he utilized that. Now he's got a Gulfstream type rating. He's doing contract flying for people. They were unable to bring him on full time because of a reduction in their fleet, but there's a
Right.
good chance they would have taken him. That's the purpose of SkillBridge, right? We also talked to Boris Kuhn, who is the person that was actually signing the contracts with the businesses, tracking workforce needs in the DoD, providing reports and everything on this. So the details that these two go into on the podcast are really, really phenomenal. We do a deep dive. So Raven Careers Aviation Podcast, it's episode number 11. Also, I'd be remiss if I didn't say, look up Max Schumann online, LinkedIn.
Yep.
He's on there. He's a fantastic resource, and he'll help guide you in helping you get the company that, if there's a company you want to work with, getting them on, intrigued at this program, understanding it. We dive in on how to talk to your commanding officer. The commanding officer says, "Hey, you already got skills. You don't need new skills. Stay here. I need you." How to deal with that situation, how to educate them on it. Share the podcast with them. We recorded it very specifically so that it gave information to you, the user of the program, the commanding officer, and the company that you want to work for. Right. So thank you, Richie. Give it a listen. Let me know what you think of it. And the suggestion to talk to Max came from Max. He said, "Hey, you guys keep kicking me clients to help with this. Why don't we do a podcast?" So if you can think of something that you want to hear on that podcast, let me know. podcast@ravencareers.com. Be happy to entertain it and be happy to engage with you on that.
Awesome. And I point out too, real quick, that somebody, looks like Shane McKenna, I posted it up there just a minute ago, but said, "Hey, great conversation. Help my daughter working on networking for dental school." So, hey, this doesn't have to be a specific aviation thing. If you have somebody that's interested in networking, give this a listen. I think it'd be great. James, Jason, thanks so much for being a part of this as usual. And you guys go enjoy your night. I'm going to kick this off for the next couple minutes as my dog barks.
San Diego. Looking forward to
see you. San Diego. We'll see you guys.
See you.
All right, so let's finish this bad boy up. We are so glad again that you joined us for this. Let us know what you thought. I can see most of these comments in here. If anybody has any last minute questions, I'll keep it open for just a few minutes, but let us know what you thought. Share this out if you have somebody that's interested in sharing it. Obviously, when you share things like this, it gives us more visibility. The more visibility we have, the more people that want to do things for the community. San Diego, San Diego, San Diego. So excited about what's to come in San Diego. We've got lots of announcements. If you're on YouTube or have a YouTube account, go over to YouTube and subscribe to the channel. youtube.com/Rtag Nation. We are getting ready. I've been filming reviews. Got reviews for Strong bags. We've got some reviews for what else? I got Strong bags, some nomadic backpacks, things that are going to help you with your transition and all of those pieces in the future, and the things that you want to use when you're flying the airlines. Some cool coffee things, since I'm a coffee guy, but take a look at that. Subscribe. We are going to be working and giving away more Bose headsets. Yay. So I think this works. Hold on. Nope, wrong one. I see, still working on some of those sound effects, but one of these days we'll get it going. But we got some headsets that are coming up. We've got lots of giveaways that are going to be part of this and part of the podcast. Thanks, Landon. I appreciate it. I actually owe you a call, Landon, so sorry about that. I will call you. But we are so excited to have you back. We're so excited to be back, not next Thursday, but the following Thursday, which is, let me look and see what that Thursday is. Next Thursday, the 17th. Same time, we're going to be coming back, and we'll post some information on what we're going to be talking about. But we just can't thank Raven Careers enough for coming by. And just the last little bit of thought for you is that, remember, the things that we do here impact the next generation, the next group of people that are going to come behind us. Like they talked about on just a second ago, that everything that we do now, it really influences how the community coming behind us is, whether you're active duty, retired, National Guard, Reserve, whatever it is that you're doing, or if you're a civilian listening to this and want to come into the military, you're interested, we're going to have those setups for you at the convention. But remember, approach the day with an attitude of service. Always think, what is the next thing that I can do for somebody? And be authentic about that. The things that we try to do at Rtag and try to push out to our membership is, what can we do for you? Let us know. Reach out to us. Let us know how we can help you, how we can aid you, get a mentor. If you've already been in the industry for a while, like Taco and Richie and some of these people that we see all the time, be a mentor. Really take that next step to help out our brothers and sisters who are making this transition. We look forward to seeing you the next time. Again, share this out to people. If you want to donate, just put that up there. I don't have a fancy little logo or anything, but you can do it through the Facebook page or through the website. We have so many people that have donated over the last year. It has been amazing, especially with people that have lost some income. We understand that, and all those donations are going out towards scholarships. We've got some exciting scholarships to announce coming up, and we just could not be more thankful for this community and what you mean to us. Last but not least, in the comments of YouTube or in the comments of this video, or send it to the Facebook page, Rtag Nation, and put a hashtag on there, maybe like Rtag Nation live or something like that. Or send me an email at joshua@rtag.org. Maybe keep those emails to a minimum because I get about 1,000 a day. What would you like us to talk about on this live show? If there's some things that you've seen in the industry or things that you're interested in that would really be great on this medium, let us know. I've got obviously lists of shows and things to talk about coming forward, but I'm always looking to do more research and find more areas for this show and what we have, and we're going to make it better and better and better. And I think the next, not next weekend, but the next show is going to be the 4 board members, and we are going to talk about all of the exciting stuff that's happening. We've been working really, really hard in getting this set up, and San Diego is going to be amazing. I'm looking real quick. I don't see any extra questions or comments. So thank you so much for being here. We are so excited. I cannot wait to see you on the next show or in person. If you're in the DFW area, let me know, and we'll maybe do some a get together or maybe just high five passing in the airport. But welcome back, airlines. Welcome back, Rtag. That's it for myself and the board. We'll see you next time. Thanks, Taco. Rtag Nation, we're out.